Hello, YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Ha! Breakpoint. New story, same story. So, one of the things that's been going on in our world you may or may not have realized is the James Webb Telescope, which is a new telescope. Kind of replaced the Hubble. It's up higher in orbit so it can see a little bit further. And what it's doing is it's kind of putting into question some of the assumptions we made about the universe before. Oh gosh, look at me already down. We're in trouble, YouTube. So let me pause that for a second. Once you get the enemy, they get on fire and then they're going to come after you. So in Breakpoint, the story is about, this is my higher level character. I hop on the turret and I'm going to wipe everything out. This is my higher level character. I showed some of the Breakpoint with my beginning character. Sometimes you don't want to see the game from the beginning. You want to see, this is when I'm modded up. I won't show you my build yet, but I'm going to show. It's not that I don't want to show you my build. I didn't think it was important on this first one, but I think I'm a pistol guy in this one as well. But talking about the James Webb Telescope, it's finding some things because it can see further back, and what it's seen, some of its observations are not what we expected by the theories that we had in place. And so this is nothing unusual for science, for them to put out, part of the scientific method. You put out a theory and then you go about testing it, see if it's true or false. The thing I want to talk to you today about is, think about all the millions and millions and billions of dollars that they spend on telescopes, radio telescopes, visual telescopes, infrared telescopes, all kinds of telescopes, X-ray, everything, to kind of discern or figure out what the galaxy, where we came from, how this whole thing came to be. And even with all those millions and billions of dollars, they still find that they're wrong. And they have to adjust their thesis. They have to adjust their hypothesis. They have to adjust almost everything. And I say that to kind of make the point, how often do you hold on to something you believe in past the point where you've been given all types of information? Past the point where it's been refuted, but you hang on to it. Why do you hang on to it? When I hang on to those things, it's probably my ego. One thing I promised myself when I started doing this YouTube stuff was that if I was wrong, I would admit I was wrong. As I've gotten older, that's been easier to do. There was a time in my life where I thought I knew everything, but obviously I didn't. When I would say I thought I knew everything, what I meant to say, without taking the shortcut, but I took the shortcut, was that of the things that are in my domain that I am privy to, I know those things.
Let me get a clean shot. Moving in.
That doesn't mean I didn't know. Look, I was being quiet because I'm sniping. That doesn't mean that I know everything about those subjects. It's just that that's something that was in my focus that I thought I had a pretty good idea about. And this is going to really get in the weeds, but the first time that I really, really got this in my face, was working with a salesperson who's a friend of mine now. We weren't always friends. As he said, we were acquaintances. And that kind of reshaped how I looked at all my relationships. We were co-workers. We were both salespeople at the same company. And we were having a discussion one night. Eventually I got promoted to VP of operations. So at the company I was at, that means that I had to have a really good understanding of all the technical things we sold because I was a resource for the salespeople. We had other people at our company that were in the U.S. It was a German company with a U.S. part contingent, and we had someone here in the U.S. that knew more than me. And then when he didn't know, he could call Germany. He was a really smart guy. So I didn't have to be the backstop for everything, but I still had to know a lot. And this piece of equipment wasn't really in the domain of that person. So me and the salesman talked about it. And we had a customer that told the salesman he couldn't have lasers. He didn't want any lasers in his lab. And so the piece of equipment we were talking about doesn't have any lasers externally. And so I don't think I really knew this because some of those items in a different company, they have a similar piece of technology that uses piezo. So as it tilts to the side, it gets more electrical current and then it gives a feedback loop. This other thing used little mirrors and lasers, but I didn't know that. So I argued with this person that your customer's stupid. It doesn't have lasers. And this salesperson told me, yes, it does have lasers. And after looking it up, I had to eat some crow and some humble pie. And I said, yes, sir, you're right. I'm wrong. And so, okay, so why didn't I do that? Why didn't that happen before? Because a lot of other times I was looking at manuals for the part of the machines that I would do when I was a service technician. And when I was an officer in charge, I would just read the manuals nonstop so I could quote the manuals chapter and verse. Didn't mean I applied it chapter and verse, but people would tell me stuff and I would look it up just to fact check. And a lot of times they're just shitting you up because they might have heard something. They're not doing it maliciously. They heard something. They just never took the time to look it up. And I was having a talk with someone recently, why are you kind of like that? And I gave people chances earlier in my life, and it didn't always pan out that way. So I started relying on myself a little bit more. Maybe that's because my dad died when I was 18, and, during those formative years, I couldn't really rely on anyone. Maybe I didn't even know the questions to ask. Ghost Recon is a great game. I played, I think, Ghost Recon 2 or 3. I think I told you earlier. I played that and networked with that. And then Wildlands, and I started showing you some gameplay from Wildlands that no one watched. So now I'm going to do some gameplay of Ghost Recon Breakpoint that no one watched. But my faithful people, I appreciate you folks that watch. And you're really not coming for the videos at this point. I've stopped showing you fantastic gameplay and this stuff. I might have some good sniper shots. A little more aggressive in this game. I should probably play it on a harder mode. You would just see me crawling the whole time. But so I just learned not to really trust but verify. I would just, I would look everything up and wanted to be kind of right about that. But I've learned at this point that being on YouTube, that I'm going to say some things. And one of the commenters, Rich85, when I first started playing Destiny 2, I said it was kind of, it seemed, I looked at the store and I didn't pay attention. It looked like it was pay to win. And I made that comment and he politely called me out that he didn't really see that. And then he was right. And he has over time been right about a lot of things. And he puts it in a very nice way. It doesn't shove it. Now he teases me a little bit more, which I appreciate. But he was always very nice about it. So I don't know everything. So I can admit that. But we were taught the Big Bang, and you were taught all this stuff, and we take it as gospel, and it's not gospel. And I think if you talk to the people that made the discoveries, they would kind of tell you they only know a little bit of slice. Each time they get a better resolution camera, it can see further back in time. This is another cool thing, you drive a boat. This is a shitty boat to drive, like, or covert operations. I think I'm going to get money there. But as you go on in time, a lot of these things that have been postulated, and I think I talked about this last time, they didn't teach us about quantum mechanics. I went to grade school in the 70s. I think in 1974, I was in fourth grade. Maybe it was 75, whatever. I hadn't even heard of quantum mechanics. By that time in 75, quantum mechanics had been around like 50 years, let's say. Maybe the Copenhagen thing was in 29. I don't know. Let's look what it is, YouTube. I'll stall for time. Copenhagen. You're going to get more of this now. Quantum. As I get off the games and I get more to podcast mode, I'm going to look it up. Copenhagen interpretation was, come on, background, 1900, Orange and New Storm, mid-1920s. All right. So this part's going to really get good. So the other thing, pausing on quantum mechanics, how come they didn't give us that in school? It's been 50 years. So then we get this half knowledge. So I want you to just, what's the point of all this? Don't accept everything in your head. If science can be wrong, you can be wrong. So start accepting that and not challenge your views, but maybe ask why. So here's what happened. This is one of the great things about Ghost Recon. Not that I can't get in the building. I have to crawl eventually. I don't show you that part. But there's a plane that's going to go over. And that plane is, you see, I'm shitting my pants. I'm going down. That plane is going to discover me. You can see it on the radar now. It's going to fly over, and then it's going to mark my position, and then it's going to send the toughest mobs against me.
What the fuck is that?
And boom, they found me out. And they dropped a flare in my position. So this is good. So I'm trying to get into decent position, trying to figure out where they're coming. And they're coming down the hill, and I pull out my T95 machine gun, LMG, and I'm going to, I think it's T95, hopefully YouTube. And I'm going to try to do some stuff. Hopefully I don't go down here. And I'm trying to suppress it. You can see it jams my radar. And I'm going to have to skedaddle and break contact out of here. This is normally when I say like, share, subscribe, comment. So I'm telling you, if I can admit I'm wrong and relook at my ideas, if science can do it, you can too. There's a revolution going on in cosmology, but really what the revolution is we don't have to believe everything they told us, because they just didn't have instruments that could look back that far. The moment they get instruments, they can look back further than they did. Eureka, discovery. So that might tell us that we're just limited by our technology. Thank you, YouTube. Not limited by the folks on YouTube. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye.